In this lesson, we're going to cover file fields. This entire chapter has been about files, as images are also files. The file field, however, has settings that are slightly different from the image field, as it is designed to handle files that will be downloaded rather than ones that render on the page. In order to work with the file field, we're going to add this field to the article content type. So I'm going to head under Structure, Content Types, Article. I want to manage fields, and I want to add a new field to this content type. I'm going to select field type, and I want to choose file instead of image. Now I'll click Save and Continue. And now I have the field settings that I need to go through for the file field. The first setting that I need to choose is whether or not I want the display field to be enabled. The display field is a little checkbox that allows me, when I'm uploading a file to a node, to choose whether or not that file will actually display in the list of files on the node. And this display would be for the unauthenticated general public. It is possible that you might want to be able to upload files to a node without actually having them display on the node. Perhaps you want to use the file field as an archival field of some sort, and the content of that field is not really intended for the public. This might be an instance where you would enable the display field and let people choose whether or not the file will actually display when users look at the node itself. So in this case, I'm going to enable that little checkbox. And now I need to decide whether or not files are displayed by default. And in this case, I do want files to be displayed by default. Now I'll go ahead and click Save Field Settings. And we're going to get the rest of the form to set up the file field on the article content type. I can include help text. I need to indicate what extensions are allowed. Typically, the extension that you're probably going to allow is going to be PDF. You might also want to allow docs or spreadsheets of some sort, and you may want to allow TIFF files or archival files as well. Notice that I did not include the dot at the beginning of the extension, and this is an area where the help text is going to be very helpful for you, so you do want to pay attention to that. As with images, the file directory is the directory in your Drupal root structure where these files will be stored, because these are uploads that the user is putting into your directory structure. So in this case, I'll do something logical. You can limit the upload size if you have limited storage space, which is a good idea because if large files are transferred, that is going to give your site a performance hit. So you do want to make sure that your users are only transferring files that you know your server can handle. Then finally, down here at the bottom is Enable Description field. The description field allows you to enter human readable titles for your files so that the user's not actually just looking at a file name, but rather at something that's friendly for them to look at. So we'll go ahead and enable this and then save these settings. Now that we've added this field to our article content type, we can go ahead and edit one of our articles. Let's find one here, Exploring Spices, and then I'll click Edit and scroll down, and this field is now available. It looks very much like the image field before you start uploading images, but I'm going to go ahead and upload a file now. And then I have a little checkbox here allowing me to include the file in the display or not. Notice that the description field does not show even though I checked off the description field in my field settings. This is a bug with the current beta. Without this bug, you would actually see a text field next to the image where you could then put in the human readable text that you want the user to see. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and keep this published. Now if I scroll down to the bottom here, there's a download at the bottom of my node. There are a number of ways that you can display your file fields that may or may not be more appropriate for your specific site. Right now, we're just showing the file itself, which displays a little icon representing what type of file this is. So that's helpful for the user. If I wanted to show these files in a table, for example, then I can just go to Structure, Content Types, Article, and I'm going to go to Manage Display. And then under Downloads, I'm going to choose Table of Files. I'll save this, and then we'll go back to that particular piece of content. Scroll down to the bottom, and now we're seeing the downloads listed in a table, which includes both the file name and the size. As with images, this is also an entity that will display under your content management area, under the Files tab. So you'll see here that the very first item, since it's the most recent one that we added, is the PDF that we uploaded. The MIME type tells us this is a PDF as opposed to an image. In this lesson, we took a quick look at the file field type, which behaves very similarly to images, but has settings that are unique to files.